Monday Night Raw starts off with Division. Starts off with Paul Heyman cutting a promo, basically wanting to confront Seth Rollins. Adam Pearce comes out, try to prevent Division from causing any type of chaos on Monday Night Raw. Then we end up getting multiple masked men figures ended up coming out, luring each member of the Division, luring Logan Paul and Austin Theory away from the ring. Paul Heyman's in the ring all by himself. Then the real masked man, Seth Rollins, comes out, unreveal his mask again, attacks Paul Heyman with a steel chair, then ends up hitting a curb stomp, and that was a really good opening segment. I love what they did here. Very interested to see what Seth Rollins does, because I honestly don't know what he does for Mania, because it's like, does he really just fight Logan Paul? Like, is that really his match? I'm not sure if that's a really interesting or big enough match. We've done it before, but in this dynamic, I'm not really sure. Maybe Brock Lesnar would be an interesting choice. We haven't seen them fight in a while, so maybe that's a more interesting choice if you really want to give up opponent for Seth Rollins if Braun Breaker's not coming back. But very interested to see what they do with Seth Rollins. But then they end up showing Paul Heyman getting carried out in the ambulance truck, and then you end up getting Jimmy Uso attack Austin Theory, and LA Knight was the driver in the ambulance truck, which I thought was hilarious. Then this eventually to a match later down the road with Jimmy and Austin Theory, but ends in a DQ. Logan Paul interferes. Logan Paul, Austin Theory jump Jimmy Uso. Jey Uso comes back, attacks, ends up helping his brother out. They stand tall, which could potentially be the Mania match. That's the only reason why I'm mentioning this, because I didn't really care about this match because I already knew how it was going to play out. But this may be the Mania match, because I don't know what you do with the Usos at Mania. I don't. With them in the tag team division and a dead tag team division, mind you, I don't know who they face for those tag team titles. I don't, because I don't see any team beating them with the way WWE is booking their division. So division might be the only option. Like, I don't know what you do with them. So this might be the Mania match. I don't care for it, but this might have to be the Mania match, to be honest. Afterwards, we do end up getting Gunther versus Dragon Lee. This was a really solid match. Really enjoyed it. For a good portion, you end up getting Dragon Lee getting some good offense, but a good portion of the match was Gunther being dominant. Towards the end, Gunther ends up ripping off the mask of Dragon Lee, puts him in a sleeper. Dragon Lee taps out to eventually be able to put his mask back on. Gunther stands tall. I'm assuming this is eventually going to lead to Rey Mysterio. That's the only thing that makes sense. I'm assuming we're done with the whole Dragon Lee storyline. Very interested to see what Gunther does after Mania, because again, I don't know who Gunther faces. If it ain't Rey Mysterio, I don't know what we do with Gunther at this point, because Brock Lesnar, everyone wants Oba Femi to be that challenge, so I don't know what we do with Gunther afterwards, but this was a good match. This was really good. I really enjoyed this match. Very curious to see what they do with Gunther, especially after retiring so many legends already. Very interested to see what they do with him at Mania, since he won't be in the world title scene. So they're going to need some type of really interesting opponent to really keep his momentum going, because his momentum is already starting to dwindle down a little bit. So we need to keep that momentum going. So I don't know who will be that opponent, to be honest with you. Like I said, the only one that really will really keep his momentum going is really Gunther, because Rey Mysterio, he's a legend, but he hasn't really done anything recently that's really like that groundbreaking, and he doesn't have the top credibility like a Brock Lesnar does to really keep his momentum going at the match. Because a Rey Mysterio Gunther match, you kind of expect Gunther to win, because Gunther wouldn't be the underdog. With Brock Lesnar and Gunther, nobody would be the underdog in that match. There's a bit of a difference. So very interested to see what they do with Gunther leading into WrestleMania. We end up getting a Liv Morgan vignette package, which I thought was really good. She ends up basically mentioning the words Stephanie said to her, ends up saying that Stephanie doesn't know anything about me, that you're just assuming that you know me. She ends up mentioning that it's not her fault that she got accepted into WWE at 20 years old while you got rejected your first time around, and that the reason why I was accepted because I was a star, and that you had to go back and, do all the things you had to do, and that you're still reflecting on the past, and that I don't reflect on the past. Then she eventually ends up saying that Stephanie doesn't know her that well, but pretty soon she will at WrestleMania when she becomes the new World Heavyweight Champion. I love this. This was great. I'm really enjoying what they're doing with this Liv Morgan Stephanie feud. It is really getting me invested. I will say it's really getting me invested. I was not high on this feud. I really wasn't. It is impressing me. I hope they continue to build on this, continue to get better and better, because we need something for Mania season, because we cannot be having Roman Reigns and CM Punk carry us until Mania. No, we need some other stories to really elevate this WrestleMania. Hopefully, this Liv Morgan and Stephanie stuff, if it continues to build as it's going, looks like it's going to be a really interesting feud. So I'm really excited to see what they do moving up to WrestleMania. But this was a really good vignette package from Liv Morgan. I'm actually interested to see what's going to be next for these two women. We end up getting an AJ Lee promo. She basically cuts, the typical babyface promo after winning a championship. Then she ends up announcing that she wants to be a fighting champion, like every babyface. But no, but seriously, she eventually ends up calling out women in the locker room who wants to defend her title. So next week is going to be a gauntlet match to determine who's going to be the #1 contender for the women's Intercontinental Championship match. I think Lyra, Bailey, Raquel, Asuka, Ivy Now, and there's someone else, and Io Sky are going to be in that gauntlet match, which should be very interesting. Now, this is going to be very unfortunate because it's really weird for me because I like AJ Lee. I have been critical of her. I still am. But I don't think she sucks. I think she's good. I just think that people overrate her time in WWE, but I still think she's good. But I like the idea of her, the gauntlet and #1 contender. The only problem is every woman that is in the gauntlet, I low-key want them to win. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like it's unfortunate because Bailey and Lyra has been so disrespected as a tag team with the bad booking, with just forgetting about the bipolar gimmick that Bailey had, them not even never getting a shot at the women's tag team titles. So if one of them win this match, it's like I will want one of them to win. It's like I don't want AJ beating one of them, but it would make sense. I guess if I had to choose one between Lyra or Bailey, I'll probably choose Lyra because she is young. She is younger than Bailey. She has so much left in her WWE career. Plus, you could use the whole, well, AJ's a veteran, Lyra's young, so her just being in the ring with AJ benefits her, giving her that rub. Or Bailey's a Hall of Famer. She doesn't really affect her at all if she loses, so I understand. Raquel should not be losing no more title matches. Like, the way they're building her up, she should not be losing these title matches. So do not have her win just for her to lose to AJ. That's just stupid. Do not do that. Raquel, the next time she's in a title match, she needs to win with the way they're booking her. Do not put her in no more title matches if you're not going to pull the trigger. Io Sky makes sense, but I don't think she's winning it. I think she's going to lose in the gauntlet match. I think they're going to have her first. That way she loses towards the end. Ivy Now, as much as I do like her, but they're not going to have her win. She's not going to be put in that position. Then Asuka is an interesting choice. I wouldn't mind her seeing her lose, but she's kind of similar to Bailey in the sense where her terrible booking. So every woman here, I low-key want them to win more than AJ Lee. And as much as I do like AJ Lee, it's just more so the timing is bad because every woman that I will want, it's just, I just want them to win more than AJ right now. Like, if this was like a year or two ago, this would have been perfect for AJ Lee. But right now, I just want anyone else but AJ holding that title, which is very unfortunate. If she was holding the Women's United States Championship, that would be totally different because the U.S. title, there's no one on SmackDown that I really want to win that title. Like, for the most part. Like, the only person I would really want is maybe Tiffany Stratton, but that's really it. So, if she was on SmackDown, I would actually like it. But I understand why she holding IC title. I'm not mad at it. It's just my biasness is kind of taking a play here where every woman that she's potentially going to face, I want them to have it more. So we'll see how eventually that women's gauntlet turns out. We do end up getting a quick segment with Rusev. Rusev calls out Oba Femi. Oba Femi does eventually comes out. And then they end up having a brawl. They go back and forth, with Oba eventually getting the momentum. He ends up standing tall towards the end, knocking Rusev out of the ring. Next week, this sets up a match between them two. So very excited for that match. I'm liking what they're doing with Oba. I like what they're doing with Oba because they kind of do similar things what they did with Braun Breaker, but instead of him facing, because Oba has faced like a jobber or two with Kid Wilson, but one thing I like what they're doing with Oba is that they're actually allowing him to show his personality. They're having him actually give microphone work, which I actually do like. I like that they're not making him this silent, dominant monster. I like that they're actually having him talk, have conversation, which I am enjoying. I like what they're doing here. I like that they're finally giving him a real opponent in Rusev. That should be a really good match. Can't wait to see how that plays out. So I'm very interested to see what they do. Oba should definitely pick up the victory here, build him, give us some momentum. Hopefully, some momentum to eventually face Brock Lesnar. Do the job, WWE. WWE has been very incompetent for the last few months, really the past year, but do not be this incompetent. Just do the job that everyone wants you to do. Just do the Brock Lesnar Oba Femi match. It's not that hard. It's not that difficult. Just do it, okay? It's not that complicated. Just do the match. But overall, I did really enjoy this segment, and I really can't wait for that match. We end up getting an Intercontinental Championship match between Dominic Mysterio versus Penta. This was a fine match. Towards the end of the match, you get Dominic Mysterio calling for the ring bell. He wants the hammer they use for the ring bell. JD goes for it, but Finn Balor prevents him from doing it. This allowed Penta to take advantage and become your new IC champion, which I enjoy. I'm assuming this is where we get the implosion of the Judgment Day next week with Dom confronting Finn. He gets mad eventually. Let's hope that next week we start this because I'm assuming we're going down Dom and Finn without the IC title, which is great because I've been saying that feud does not need the IC title. The IC title is finally not being held hostage by Dominic Mysterio, so that's great. Now, my only concern is, why couldn't we do this with Penta being IC champion? Like, hear me out. There was no need for Dom to be IC champion during his injury if you was just going to have him lose here. I'm just going to be honest. There's really no point, because Penta winning here isn't like it's a good moment, but it wasn't like this grand moment that you needed Penta to beat Dom for the IC title, because we already know that Dom has been winning by cheating majority of his reign, and he's not like a dominant, like, prestigious champion. So I don't understand why Dom couldn't just vacate the title. Penta wins it in a battle royal or like a number contendership match, have a few matches in between, and, you know, get some defenses in his belt. Dominic eventually works his way back, eventually gets his match, because he has a reasoning, because he had to vacate the title. You didn't beat me for it. Then you could have done the same thing here, but Penta retains. That way we didn't have to go months without an IC champion. Am I tripping? Like, we could have just done that. Like, why did we wait months just for Dom to lose it? Because it's like, what was the point of Dom keeping the title if he wasn't going to Mania? Because I thought that was the reasoning why. You wanted Dom to go a champion into Mania. That's why you kept it. But it's like, if you were just going to do this, there was no point of Dom holding the title hostage. You could have just had him vacated when he was injured, and you could have played this same narrative. I don't get it. I'm happy that Penta won. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy he won, but we didn't need all of this. I just feel like you just could have just gave Penta the title and just have Dom vacated, and then just have him beat have him beat Dom when he returned. I just feel like that was a better solution, but we'll see eventually if the Judgment Day implodes. I'm not getting my hopes up, because they've been teasing it for like 5 years at this point, so we'll see eventually if the breakup of the Judgment Day is finally going to happen. Now we get the main event between Roman Reigns, CM Punk. They have their one-on-one conversation. This was a good segment. I really enjoyed it. It starts off with CM Punk. He ends up mentioning that, because they was in Indianapolis, starts up with CM Punk ends up saying that this is where the Shield formed. This is the city that he brought Roman Reigns into the company. Roman responds back, ends up saying that you brought the other two in the company, that you didn't bring me. Punk ends up saying that, yes, he didn't choose you, but you must have, you know, start remembering things wrong. Then Punk ends up saying that he got Roman right where he wants him. He got him under his skin. He's in his head, and that Roman is not prepared because he's too focused on being angry with CM Punk. Then Roman ends up mentioning that, yeah, he doesn't like CM Punk, but he doesn't understand the full picture. He ends up saying that the original plan when you got her was never for you to be champion, that you weren't meant to be champion. You're not fit to be champion because that isn't your role here. Your role was to, you know, sell some merch, you know, bring some popularity, and that's really it. And that, you know, you being champion was never part of the plan, and that that he's going to take that title from him because he's more suited to fit that position. Roman eventually ends up saying that after the match, he's going to send CM Punk towards his retirement tour like John Cena. He's going to send him down to NXT to help him train the young and up and coming stars, and then bring him up to the main roster just to spoon feed him to Roman so he could smash him, which I thought was great. Then we get CM Punk. He comes back. He ends up pulling Roman to stop him from walking away. Then Punk ends up mentioning how Roman is all alone and how Roman can't get the job done by himself. And then he ends up mentioning how Roman mentioned how he was going to retire him and all this. And then CM Punk ends up saying that at WrestleMania, he's going to bury Roman Reigns, and he's going to bury Roman Reigns right next to his father, which was very brutal, This was a good segment. This was really good. Really can't, these two segments that they have had with each other have been the best thing leading into WrestleMania. It is very unfortunate too, because this is the only thing that's really giving WrestleMania any type of hype, which is very unfortunate because you shouldn't be having one feud carry your entire WrestleMania bill. But these two segments have been really good, really great. Really can't wait to see what Roman is going to say next, because him saying that about your father, or him saying he's going to bury you next to your dad, you can't let that slide. You just can't. You got to bring up AJ. You got to bring up their dead dog. You got to bring up something, because you can't just allow that to happen. So very interested to see what's the response, what's the rebuttal is going to happen on next week Raw. But this overall show, really good show overall. Really a step up from last week. So can't wait to see what they do next. But you guys let me know your overall thoughts and opinions down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our content. But yeah, that's it.